welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Christiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs covering all things theater. And we are coming to you from the LTV studio, where I have my favorite person on the planet today. Jayne Sherman, who is a theater producer. She's produced Kinky Boots, which is one of my favorite things on Broadway, amongst many, many others. And you have a new show that you've just brought to town.
The Kite Runner.
Jayne, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back. Very excited about The Kite Runner, based on the best-selling book. It's a beautiful production. It's a play, not a musical.
You remember, I just saw it Saturday, so I was blown away by how you could. It's an epic piece. I mean, it's really an epic piece, and it's a beloved novel, which I discovered afterwards. There's so many people were in love with that they'd seen, and they go, how could you bring this to Broadway? They thought, and then I go there and I see this. So, tell us, how did you?
Well, Matthew Spangler wrote the play. He worked with Khaled Hosseini, who wrote the book. And it was done originally in the UK, and it toured there. It was very successful. It's had a long road to Broadway. We've made some changes here, and we have found an amazing, authentic cast.
That was incredible too, because they're all Afghanistan.
Well, no, we have 3 people involved with the show that are Afghans, but Iran.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
from the region.
Right, Armenian. They all bring to it not only their joy as actors and being employed, but a connection to the nature of the story of immigration, of refugee. So it's a very special familial group.
Yeah, before we go too far, we have let's just show the poster for the show, which was stunning, absolutely stunning. And the poster also captures very much what you felt in the theater. That's the other thing that was so fabulous. The video, what do you call them? The projections. Yeah. The projections that changed the scenes and evolved. They were just beautiful, almost haunting in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the desire is to have an intimate setting, so you don't want sets that are moving and turning, and it's a very creative design.
So we have a sizzle reel.
Okay.
So let's show the people a little bit of the sizzle reel I think captures the essence beautifully. So let's have it.
I'm going to run that blue kite for you.
Come back with it.
For you, 1,000 times over.
Come see me. There is a way to be good again.
still gives me chills.
It really captures the essence of the evening. And what's was so extraordinary about it, how this really episodic book you could put together on the stage and bring all the elements together and yet not leave much of it out at all. It was stunning. Now, let's tell them what the story's about. It's about
Sure.
two
Well, it's about several things. It happens on a couple of levels. It's about family. It's about relationships. It's about how the world and situations.
but it's
in
all
the world-
focused through the two boys.
Yes. And it's about redemption and about how sometimes people do things and they carry the guilt of the things they do for a lifetime. And the end of that reel, which says there is a way to be good again, is really the uplifting part of the show. I mean, it's a very emotional show. And yes, people will cry, but they will also laugh. And they come out feeling good. In fact, the amazing thing to me, it's a play, not a musical. It's not uncommon for audiences to get up and applaud afterwards. But they get up and applaud and they cheer, which usually only happens in big musicals.
We talked about this, but do you think they're cheering because they identify with, with having done something that they haven't been able to?
I think it's a universal story. I think it's, I mean,
Do you think so? Do you think we all feel like we've done things that we've never been able to make amends
we
for?
tend to be a country of immigrants. Okay. And I think we live in a world today where we see, sadly, these stories repeating themselves. But we also have our own baggage, each of us.
Right, of course.
And it tells a story of family and how that maneuvers life for the individual.
But it's told through two friends.
Yes, two friends,
And
but who are really, it takes place in Afghanistan, and it's about the class system there. So they're friends, they grow up as boys together, but one is the son of a wealthy man, and the other is the son of the family servant. So
he really is basically the servant to the one he's.
yes,
The two boys
Yes.
play together, but it's like
Yes.
he's playing with his servant.
but on a certain level they are, of course, best
Oh yes,
friends.
they were bound. They
Yeah.
they were at the hip. How is it? It's at the heart.
Yes.
They were
At the heart.
yeah. And how much more can we tell the people
Well,
about?
for those who have read the book,
They'll know everything, of course.
they'll know. But it's interesting because very often when somebody reads a book, they're afraid to see it in another medium. People who love the book are loving the play. People who don't know the book are loving the play. Our word of mouth, excuse me, our audience response is amazing. It's a very vocal audience during the performance. You can hear when people are startled or apprehensive or laughing. It's set, we purposely wanted to be in a small, intimate theater.
It's a beautiful theater, the Hayes. It's gorgeous. And the evening I saw it, the audience just cheered and cheered afterwards, and it was almost a packed house.
Yeah.
Now, it opened on July 21st, and it actually is a limited run through October 30th. So if you want to see this, you have to get your tickets.
And it's a real limited run because we rent the theater
Mm-hmm.
and they need it for another show. But there will be a tour. It's built into this production. But the tour will probably be a year from now. We're putting it together now.
Now, what, besides all the wonderful elements, I mean, the projections were fabulous, and the actors had to incorporate this wonderful movement that gave you the flow of the piece and the feelings of it was just, and go from this movement into scenes.
So in addition to...
So what I wanted to say about that was those actors were not just good actors; they had to be movement people, and just it was stunning. Okay, I'm sorry.
And they worked also with a director, with a musical director, because of the instruments that they use, the Schwierborgens that make those sounds that enhance some of the drama. But we also had a cultural consultant to make sure that the movements were appropriate and correct. so that people from the region would recognize it that way.
Oh.
And the usual fight coordinators, things like that.
Everything about it was just so fluid and beautiful. I also want to talk about, because your cast was just, everybody in the cast was wonderful as well. But at the center were the two boys and the father, of course. But I'd like to talk about them both, because
Sure.
we have what's his name? Amir Arison,
Yes,
who played Amir.
he played Amir, and he actually left a very successful TV show called The Blacklist, where he was for 9 years to come do this show, because he found it very challenging. He loved this story. It touched his life.
And the young boy, Eric Sorokin,
Sorokian.
who played like the servant in a
Son.
way, the servant's son, who was his best friend. He was extraordinary. I mean, this man has such access to his emotional life that you just took your breath away.
I think
in the
he's very
scenes
special.
that
I think he's very special.
And you tell the story about how he presented himself to the casting.
He presented to the casting director. He didn't come through a manager or an agent, and everybody fell in love with him. So, and we have a number of our actors who are making their Broadway debut. They're seasoned actors,
Mm-hmm.
but this is their Broadway debut, so it's special for them on that level too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They're all fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And you did this with Daryl Roth too. She was part of this.
She executive produced,
Mhm.
but the people actually that brought me in, my producing partners, are from BBT, Victoria Lang, Ryan
You know,
Bogner.
what I'm really curious about is how much how much can you and do you allow yourself to immerse yourself into the elements of putting it together? Because you told me you saw it probably 20, 25, 30 times
easily.
maybe.
Well, because you start with the script, then you sit through casting,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have rehearsals and tech rehearsals,
Mhm.
and once a show is up in previews, you watch it pretty frequently
Mhm.
because you're making changes, you're
Mhm.
making notes. There comes a point when you freeze the show, but even after freezing the show for press and then opening, I like to come back every week or 10 days at least.
I would think it's important because
Yeah.
because people get too comfortable.
Well, interestingly enough, it keeps getting tighter and better.
Oh.
I was there the other day at the
You know
Wednesday
why?
matinee.
You know why? It's because of the movement. Because the
Maybe, yeah.
No, because of the movement, you have to stay on top of that continuously. It's something you can't let. And so and the movement, the more you do it, the more it becomes like it's like an ingrained thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's possible. I didn't come to this from the stage, so,
Yeah.
but they all.
It becomes muscle memory, so it
Yes,
makes it.
I'm sure that's true. I'm
Mhm.
sure that's true.
it's-
And they play off the audience also, as all actors do.
You have to.
And we've had such incredibly receptive, vocal, in the appropriate way, audiences.
Well, it's a blessing to have that. Now, you have another show that's coming
Yes.
that we want to talk about a little bit. It's called The Ohio State Murders, and it's by Adrienne Kennedy.
Audrey Kennedy, yes.
Adrienne Kennedy, who's
And
91 years old.
She will make her Broadway debut as a playwright at 91.
But she's got a body of work that
a
looks
huge-
amazing.
And a hugely revered and respected body of work. She has won all sorts of awards, and it's very exciting because this play will be the inaugural play in the new James Earl Jones Theater, which was recently renovated and renamed.
And after you told me this was happening, I had gotten a press release about it, but we get lots of press releases. I didn't read it thoroughly, but I went back and I started reading up on this. This sounds like really fascinating piece.
It is.
And then to have Audra McDonald doing it, coming back to Broadway after
Yep.
it's only been a few years, but every time she comes
Yes.
before the stage, it's an event, right?
Well, and she really wanted to do this. During the pandemic, I worked with Jeffrey Richards and Rebecca Gold and some other producers to do some Zoom readings with big name people to benefit the Actors Fund.
Right.
And this was one of the pieces, and she really wanted to see this piece produced, as did we.
She did a Zoom reading
She
with
did
it?
the Zoom reading,
Oh, I
yeah.
wish we'd seen it. She did the whole thing then, once? Oh, how cool.
And it's, people will be thrilled. It's about 80 minutes.
When did they do the Zoom reading? Do you know what the date?
2020.
Okay. Right in the
Yeah,
heat of the
and
pandemic.
It was part of a series of 7 to benefit the Actors Fund.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a really good cause.
Yeah. Which has changed its name to the Everything Fund, Theater Everything or something. I can never remember. Because they help everybody in theater, but I still call it the Actors Fund. In any event, it's a short piece. It's
75 minutes.
75, 80 minutes, but it's a big play. And it unfolds.
And it's basically, from what I just, tell me if I'm wrong, what I got of it, it's pretty much her thing.
Well,
And
there are 4 other
there are other
characters.
characters,
There are other
but
characters.
but she's going to
She will
be
play 2 characters. She will play her contemporary character and a younger version of that character.
Oh, okay.
And so I think it'll be very exciting. It's a thriller. It's a mystery.
That's what really
And
was
it-
interesting too about it.
Is about race, and it unravels as a good thriller.
How much more can we tell them?
Well,
About
it starts previews
No, I
November
mean
11th.
about the story.
I can't tell you too much because I don't want to give it away. It really does unravel.
Can we tell them where it's set?
Yes, it's set at a college campus. She is an acclaimed author who has been invited back to her school to discuss the violence in her work. And she begins to tell this story. And that's all I'm saying.
Okay, that's good.
But it's quite a story.
and she's discussing the violence in her work to an audience. And we're going to be the audience.
Yes.
So she's going to be breaking the fourth wall then. She'll be talking directly to us.
Well, she'll be at a podium and for part of it, you know, as
But I mean, will
one-
it be directly to the audience?
we'll see what Kenny Leon does with the direction.
Oh, so you have a decision that hasn't been made yet. Sorry. Very interesting. So I can't wait. Now let's we have no, we didn't. Audra, how many 6 Tony Awards?
6 Tony Awards.
And I think I've seen every show she did for first with Masterclass, which I will still remember forever.
Well, my Broadway debut was the original revival of A Raisin in the Sun with Audra McDonald and Felicia Rashad and, oh yes, P. Diddy.
You produced that too, didn't you? I forgot that one. Sorry about that,
That's
dear.
okay.
That was really wonderful, and she was wonderful in that as well, too.
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. She's quite remarkable.
Can we talk about P.J.? Anyway, I'm sorry.
He was quite good, though. I will say this. From
He-
night 1 till night last, he never stopped working.
He had to.
No, but
I'm sorry.
he really worked
No,
very
no,
hard.
I'm,
and
I'm sorry. I'm being.
He
I'm
did
being hard.
everything a producer could ever ask of somebody. He
I
never said
agree.
no to any kind of press.
I heard this
or
too.
Anything.
Yeah, so I
have great respect for the way he
I'm
did
sorry.
that.
No,
That's okay.
I'm sorry to poke fun at him because I do poke fun at him because he's not a real actor, and he had to do that, and he had to
Yes.
work hard every
And
single
he was
night.
with
and,
great actors.
and he brought all the money there. We made it happen. Without him, it wouldn't.
Well, I
have
don't
been.
know if that. You know, he had these 2
Well,
wonderful.
oh yeah, but I mean, if the
who won Tonys?
they won the Tonys, right? But, I mean, it was packed though.
Yes.
That was.
Was the hardest ticket to get.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm.
Which was nice because at the beginning people thought we were crazy to try and do this.
Oh
show.
yes, everyone. No, with him.
But no, to do the play. Period.
Why?
Well, it was 50 years old, and it really put Lorraine Hansberry back on the map, and as should have been. And in fact, now there is the Lorraine Hansberry Initiative, which I'm involved with, that has just recently unveiled a life-size bronze statue of her and 4 chairs so that people can come sit for a while, as she always talked about. and it will tour before it has a permanent home. And the other part of the initiative is a scholarship adjacent that is specifically to help non-binary women of color, so that they, when they go to school and graduate school, they have monies on top of their scholarships to help them eat and find a place to live and be able to attend, so that they can make the connections and meet the people that will help them move forward in their careers.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And still raising nonprofit funds for it.
No, you're going to come back,
Yes.
and because we're going to get because I'm so curious about the Ohio State murders. Now that I've delved into it, I want to read the script. I mean, can I read it?
Absolutely.
I can get a copy.
You
of
get
it.
a script. We'll give you a teaser. We'll.
So, because I want to show the audience a teaser of when you have that going.
Sure.
But I want to read it, and I can't wait to see it.
Good.
So Kenny Leon is directing.
Yes.
And what else?
We're casting the other roles now.
Did we tell them the start date? I don't think we
Previews are
did.
November 11.
November?
It
Did we
opens
tell you
December
people
8.
November 11th? Huh? Did you tell them?
We told them again.
Okay. And the theater one more time?
And tickets
is it
go
Jayne?
on sale soon.
Oh, yeah, and you can get them all over the place, wherever you need to get them. And opening night is?
December 8,
Will you be there?
of course. God willing.
And how many times do you think you'll see it before it starts?
A lot.
So we have a little extra time. Is there anything we didn't cover that we want to hit on and talk about before we go off the air?
Well, I do want to remind people that we really only have the theater until October 30 on the Kite Runner. And I think you'll agree it's a don't miss it
Oh,
show.
yes. Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, and especially if you love the novel, you will love this for sure. Absolutely.
In addition to the cast, we have a gentleman named Salar, who is on stage most of the show playing tabla music, live tabla music. It's really an unusual night at the theater.
It's a beautiful piece. It's stunning. It really is. It's good. And all the elements, the way it moves together, and it morphs. It just keeps morphing from one thing, to a musical thing, to an acting, and yet it's all telling the same story at the same time in this movement and scenes.
And the most important thing is Broadway is back.
Yeah, and they don't have to wear masks anymore either.
Well, we did something interesting at the Kite Runner.
Yes.
Because the mask mandate was lifted, and we knew there were people that were still uncomfortable, we started
course.
Masked Fridays, so that people who are
Cool.
immunocompromised or just uncomfortable would have an evening where they knew everybody had to be masked.
I love it.
And it met with great success and a lot of interest. And so starting right after Labor Day, on Wednesday matinees, we're going to require masks as well, so that people who aren't comfortable yet.
Yeah, because a lot of people aren't. And I mean, when I say a lot of people, it's not the big part of the population, but there's a segment of the population that could be easily affected by this and are affected by it. Even when they get, even I have a friend right now that's a mature person that for some reason has a lasting effect from the COVID virus.
Sure.
And it's a new variant that isn't so serious.
And we're very careful with our casts.
Mm-hmm.
We don't let people backstage anymore.
I think all theaters should do that.
Well, I think all theaters are doing that.
They are having masked
Yeah,
Fridays.
and we test everybody regularly.
No, I thought everybody should do masked Fridays. That's what I meant.
I don't know that anybody's picked that up, but there have
I
been.
think they
Lincoln
should. I
Center
think it's
still
really
requires
smart.
mask at their performances.
Who does?
Lincoln Center.
Okay.
And I was involved with the Minutes, which closed recently
That was a wonderful
planned.
show too.
And we kept a mask mandate there. So, a
Did
couple
you-
of others did too.
It just closed, right?
Yeah, recently.
Did you get any awards with that?
It's too soon.
Wasn't that last season, the Minutes?
No, it started, we were in previews when everything shut down for COVID. And
Oh, that's what
then
it
we
was.
came back.
So this Minutes will be for next season.
Yes.
But that's for the Tony Awards. But did we?
Oh, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. We were nominated, and I think we did win one Tony. We didn't win Best Play. but
Because I thought you were nominated for Best Play
yes,
this year.
we were.
You have too many irons in the fire, my dear. And every season you're nominated for Best Play.
Not
It's hard to
necessarily.
keep it all
I
straight.
don't always have a show every season. This has been
No,
a
but
busy time catching up.
But you're pretty going pretty strong, it seems to me. You've always got something new happening every time I run it. And you were doing a film once.
Yes, I have a film that's restarting in October also called Lily, about Lily Ledbetter, the woman for whom the Equal Pay for Women's Rights bill was signed, starring Patricia Clarkson, and we go back into production in Atlanta.
And that's wonderful. Who wrote that?
Rachel Feldman, who's also directing it.
Oh, how cool! And what made you get involved? How did you get involved?
Because it's a really good story. I was approached by actually a Broadway producer that I know, and I actually know Patricia Clarkson, but that's not, I mean, that was part of the draw.
Right.
But it's a good script, and it's an
Because
important
she's wonderful.
story.
Patricia Clarkson is fabulous.
Yes, and it's an important story, you know, especially now, just like The Kite Runner is an important story, unfortunately, that is really as relevant today as it was when it was written almost 20 years ago.
What do you think makes it the most relevant?
Which? The Kite
Kite
Runner?
Runner, yes.
Well, look what's happening in Afghanistan today. The Taliban is back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is still this Pashtun versus, if it's actually Sunni versus, and it's something we don't focus on here.
No, at all. No. It's over our heads. We don't even give it, it's like almost we don't even pay attention to the war.
Yeah, and the Sunni versus Shiite issue is something that's hard for us to understand, although
It's very difficult to comprehend.
look what's
yes.
going on in
Even-
our country today. So I just think it's a very, very timely.
Yes.
Look.
Oh, I see what you're talking about there. So it
And
parallels
the
in that way
personal
too.
as well as the global.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because on some level, I suppose you could call The Kite Runner political, but it really isn't. It's
No,
about
because
people and how
at the
they
heart-
deal
because-
with the politics of the world.
Because the reason it's not political is because it's at the heart. It's about the emotions of the two boys.
And the lives of people who are affected by what's happening.
Well, now we've run out of time. So thank you so much for coming, Jayne.
Thanks for
You're
having
my
me,
favorite
Patrick.
person on the planet,
Aw.
and I look forward to seeing you next month, and you're going to tell us more about the Ohio State murders.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.